Hey, I'm Ron,
I'm Shane.
and welcome to Between the Lanes, episode number 49, closing in on that 52. Ralph's not with us this week. He should be back next week, so we'll see. So, we will get right to it as usual. Of course, find us on YouTube, like the channel, subscribe, get updates as they happen, as the show goes up. Also find us on Facebook, Between the Lanes page. And we're going to get right into the race results for last weekend. And I'm going to start off with, hey, Shane, happy birthday.
Thanks.
So, a little backstory. It wasn't your birthday last weekend, but they went ahead and celebrated your birthday, right?
Right. Yeah, everyone was at the racetrack, and everyone thought it was my birthday, but actually my birthday's this Friday.
No, this Friday. All right, so last weekend was the King of the Cobra Enduro race at
Yes.
Slot Car Track Concord, home of the 2019 USRA Scale Nats. And they raced on the King Cobra track there. And you ran, well, there was 15 teams, 29 drivers. So you ran 15 10-minute heats, right?
Yes.
Okay. And after it was all said and done, it was a very long day. And we'll talk more about this later in the show. But a lot of track calls. Finished at 3:40 a.m. But after all that, crashing and bashing and dipping and diving, Shane and his partner Bobby Beachman, Team Port City, was the winner with 2,229 laps. In second place was Team Big Money, Carl Burrow and Walker McNulty. And the third place team with 2,115 laps was No Worries, which was Marty Ammon. Is that how you say his name?
I really don't know what his last name is.
Marty Ammon and Donald Gunn. That was your top three teams. And we go from there. We go to Route 66 Raceway, Elkhart, Illinois, for the Midwest Spec Series. In the hard body class, Ed Riddle was the winner. Jim E. was second. Dave Guyman was third. In IndyCar, it was John Payne the winner, Ed Riddle second, Randy Lynn third. And in Dirt Late Model, it was Ed Riddle winning again for the second time of the day, with Randy Lynn second and John Payne in third. They were also racing retro racing down at Cordell Motor Speedway down there in Marietta, Georgia. And in the Can-Am race, Bobby Robinson was the winner. Eddie Cordell was second. Roy Hogan was third. In the F1 class, Bobby Robinson first. Eddie Fleming second. And Raul Matos in third. And then stock car was Bobby Robinson completing the sweep with another win. David Rogers was second. Ed Cordell was third. Then we had the B&E hard body series Enduro at Mid-America Naperville, and they combined this Enduro on the LTD and the oval track. So when all the lap totals were said and done and added up, Team Voodoo was the winning team, which was Neil Eisler, Dave Garino, and Ken Eisler. And the second place team, of course, was B&E/Pro Slot, with Mr. and Mrs. Meharry and Mr. John Miller, the drivers on that team. The third place was the A team, with Dave Solomon, Fred Fowler, Dennis Clark, Dave Gehring, representing South Bend, Indiana, and Thaser Raceway these days. Then at Speed Zone, New Jersey, Mount Holly, New Jersey, was the annual Retro East Coupe Enduro. And this was a pretty tight race when it was all said and done. So the team of the Retro Rockers was the winner with 3,611 laps. Second place was the Slot Oholics. with 3,607 laps. And the Tominators was third with 3,600 laps. So the top three teams were separated by 11 laps at the end of it. So the difference between first and second was 4 laps. And then you had 7 laps between second and third. So that was a pretty tight enduro. And the winning team, the drivers were, I'm not sure this is 100% correct because I just seen a sign-up sheet and I haven't seen a final results sheet yet. But the signed-up team for Retro Rockers was John Gorski, Tony Lang, Eric Lindsley, Doug Griffith, and Roger Ruggiero. And the Slottoholics was Jerry Herbert, Adam Chaya, Preston Selfinger, John Molnar, and Andy Wasserman. And the Tominators was Tom Adams, Jimmy Williams, Derek Velez, Doug Bauer, and Chris Loy. So not sure all those drivers participated, but that's who was in the original signups. So we go to back to Mid-America, Naperville, for some Sunday fun racing. In the FK12 class, it was Mike Ega, your winner. MG Brown second. Eldon Wright was third. Can-Am, it was John Austin, the series promoter, the winner. Ricky D second, and Forrest Hoover in third. They ran 4-inch stock car, flexi stock cars. Ricky D was the winner. Eldon Wright was second, and Dale Lipe was third. And then they ran GT12 on the King track, with Dale Lipe winning, Ricky D second, and MG Brown in third. Now we move out to California to NorCal Retro. They raced at Fast Tracks in Rockland, California. And in the F1 class, the winner was, well, we got to go back to here. Hold on. Herman James was the winner. Justin Colvin was second. Jim Fowler was third. And they snuck Tylen Colvin in the next picture in fourth place. So there's the top 4 from the F1 race. And then in Can-Am, it was Herman James winning, Justin Colvin second, and Clifford Gaither in third. And there's those 3 drivers. And then stock car, retro stock car. Justin Colvin was your winner. Herman James second, Jim Fowler third. And there's the picture of the top 3 from that event. Then it was the Florida Slot Car Series was at the Raceway.biz in Melbourne, Florida. And in the NASCAR Group 1, Matt Borman was the winner, Terry Tawney was second, and Brian Ambrose in third. In Group 2 NASCAR, it was Ralph Josie the winner, Tracy Dickinson second. In LMP Group 1, Marcus Ramos was your winner, Doc Doherty was second, Brian Ambrose in third. LMP Group 2, Tracy Dickinson was the winner, and Ralph was second. And then the DTM class, Marcus Ramos was the winner, Brian Ambrose in second, Terry Tawney third, and DTM Group 2, Ralph Josie was the winner, and Tracy Dickinson was second. Winning Park Raceway, SCRRA Retro, 1 pitcher, 2 classes. They raced F1 and Can-Am. Brian Warmack was the winner in both. Dale Yamashita was second in both. And Rick Lynn was third in both. So that's an easy one. Now we go down, and I don't have photos of the winners. So this was a late call in here today, and had trouble getting the pictures to download to put on here. So anyway, the Florida Wing Car Series was at Fast Tracks in Avon, Florida. Pretty nice looking, I don't know if you call it an Engelman or a hill climb, kind of a little bit of both there, but we'll go with an Engelman on this one.
Yeah, I was going to say it kind of has an Engelman look.
Yeah, with the extra long 180 out here. In the Group F class, Randy Sherrill was the winner. Jeff Cox was second. Ed Hoffman was third. Group 12 Light was Tommy Stringfield was the winner. Marcus Ramos second. Don Madison was third. In the Box 12 class, Tommy Stringfield won again, with Grant Warden second, Jeff Cox in third. In Cobalt 12, Grant Warden was the winner with Jeff Cox second, and Tommy Stringfield in third. So
You ran Cobalt 12 on that?
they ran Cobalt 12 on that. And I don't know what their normal class. I can't really find much information about that series. Like, there's no Facebook page for it, and I was looking for a Facebook page for the raceway and really didn't find it. So that's our winter chicken dinner report.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
That's what we like to hear. So this weekend we got Pacific Coast Championships at Slot Car Raceway, Roanoke Park, California. That was the home of the 2018 USRA Scale Nats. And we also have the Gator Retro Racing Region 4-hour enduro race this weekend. And that's kind of all the races I have wrote down for this weekend. There's probably more. And as usual, if we find them, we'll report on them next week. Next weekend, we got Retro Race of Champions at Mid-America. And then in August, we've got the USRA Nats down in Houston, Texas. We got the FNRS Series at Staunton, Virginia. And the NASRA Nats will be later in the month of August. So we'll have all that be covered in the next few weeks. So, breaking news. So, lots of stuff happening in slot car racing. So, I don't know if you've seen this, but slot cars or Dallas slot cars, the Dallas, Texas area. They're slowly getting in their new building. Everything's coming together nicely, just taking its time as usual. And this is a photo of the new drag strip. I would imagine, I pulled this picture last weekend, I would imagine that this might almost be completed by now.
They had another picture. I was looking at it before we came on. It looked like it was completed. Oh. They had another picture at a different angle of it.
Okay. Yeah. So I wasn't online much today, so I missed it. Okay, so slots of fun in Hanover, Pennsylvania. They went from this track to this track in a matter of a few days.
Yeah.
So they have upgraded.
It looks like the track took its vitamins.
Do what?
It looks like the track took its vitamins.
Yeah, kind of grew up a little bit. They said it. They have less room in the building now. So,
yeah.
But this was the track that had been. It was in Peoria, Illinois, and had been up for sale for quite a while. So it's nice to see that it went elsewhere and it's being used. So I'm sure that the racers there will appreciate racing on this newer, bigger track.
You know what they're doing with their old track?
I think they sold it. I mean, this is a cool little track.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, someone could put it down in their basement or whatnot, or have it as a club track.
Right. But they went to this, so that's pretty awesome.
It's a big up. Yeah.
Pretty awesome. And then this, I don't know if this is the T-shirt artwork for the USRA Nats or not. P.A. Watson posted this a day or so ago, and it's just kind of cool for the 2018 USRA National Championships. Got some of the sponsors on there that's signed up so far, and kind of got the Bart Simpson theme going on there.
Wasn't you do that before with the Simpson theme?
Yeah. And then this is the T-shirt artwork for the NASRA Nats at Slot Cars or Us the Track.
Right.
Next month. So, and of course, and you can fill us in more on this one.
Right. I was going to say, I know that track.
The MTT track that was in Toronto is now in Concord, North Carolina.
Yes. Talked to Randy this morning. Kind of a morning thing I do now. I generally talk to Randy, I'll talk to Bobby, and I'll talk to George. And I'll catch Russell on the way to work.
Okay.
Kind of do the gossip in the morning.
So, yeah, I know that the track's not set up yet and everything, but what have you observed, being you were there last weekend and the track kind of arrived?
I looked at it. Track surface looks great. The braid looks great. It does need to be, I guess, it's striped with lanes. But honestly, it looks like a brand new track in the back of a, I guess you would call it a race hauler trailer.
Right.
And whatnot. But I mean, it's very nice looking. I looked at a couple pieces of it because it obviously wasn't set up yet. But I mean, just the rumors, I wouldn't so much believe the rumors. I mean, it's a really, really nice track. Braid looks brand new. I know we talked before as to whether or not it's the magnet braid. I honestly don't know. It looks like a regular braid to me.
Okay.
Kind of got like the silver shininess to it because it's brand new.
Right.
You know, no rust. You know, the surface I looked at looked brand new, no damage whatsoever. I mean, they did a good job packing it, making sure it was strapped down. And I believe he actually unloaded it this morning and has it inside his building now.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
if it has magnet traction braid on it, so all I got to do is stick a magnet to it, and if the magnet sticks to the braid, then it's magnet traction braid. But
yeah, I mean, that's something. I mean, he may try after the show once he sees it, or I can give him a call and say, "Hey, take one of your motors and take a magnet, see if it sticks."
I mean, it's really not going to make a difference what braid's on it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's magnet traction or not. You know.
I honestly don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I could have raced on a track that had magnet braid, and I would have never known. You know?
Right.
I always thought as the magnet traction braid to look kind of like a rail, kind of like on a HO track.
Right.
That's what I've always thought it to look like. And then whenever I walked out there and looked at the track, I was like, that looks like regular braid.
Right. Well, yeah, they do look similar.
Right.
So
but I mean, it looks like just regular braid to me, like what they on any normal track.
Right. So, you know, a lot of people, or several people I've talked to, well, a lot of people never got to race on the original MTTs that were in the country, and they've asked me what the difference is between this MTT and the original MTTs. And the two biggest things, well, I guess maybe three biggest things that I can see just looking at this picture. The first thing is the donut on this track is round. On the original three MTTs that were built here, it was a triangular donut. It was not a round donut. It had a radius, a straight, and a radius under the bridge. Then the straightaway that went under the two bridges kind of ran downhill and uphill, and this turn out here went up and over the straightaway. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you came out and came down to here. You came through, and this is what we always called the S section. And in this part of the S section on this track, you have a little straightaway section here. Where on the real MTT, it was just kind of just a radius all the way around till you came here. There was no straightaway in the S section of the real MTT. So it's hard to tell in this turn, the top turn, how much difference. I think, just looking at this picture, I think that this straightaway might be a little shorter from the top turn out to whatever. I mean, it's kind of funny because we didn't really have names for these turns. I mean, you know, top turn, and then you had the donut, of course, and you had bridge and the S section and kind of like the lead on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this track is totally different than the original MTT, in my opinion. I think that if you had experience on the original MTT, that rhythm will help you on this track. But it's gonna be a totally different track. I mean, so.
And he also has different sections too to change it up.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what how those two sections changed up. Do you know?
No. I know he said it was going to be set up I believe, as pictured for the Nats.
Okay. All right.
Even though he did all the other sections, so after the Nats, he may change it up.
So this coming Saturday at 12 noon on the 24 Hours of Ohio Facebook page, we'll open the registration for the teams to get signed up for that race. You will have to reserve your spot. So pay attention to that page in the next day or two, and all the details will be put up. And at 12 noon, team registrations will be accepted. So I think the team captains out there need to get together and figure out who's going to be on their teams and make sure there's no crossover if one guy was on a team, signs up, and another guy on the same team signs up. So we'll work it all out. So that's this coming Saturday, and we'll have more about that next weekend or next week, next Wednesday. And, of course, we'll hop in the Wayback Time Machine, and we're going to go back to 1989 because we've already been on this subject. So now we're just going to – because we've talked about this subject a little bit last episode. So I've talked to several people in the last week or so, exchanged some emails, some texts, and other people have done the same, and we can finally come to a conclusion. So we're going to talk about the 3 original MTT tracks that were built by Hasse Nilsson at ProSlot /Eurotoy back in, it was either late 88 or early 89 when these tracks were for sure built. But to give you a little backstory, in 1988, J.P. Van Rossum held the IMCA World Championships in Chicago at J.K. Raceway. And the 2 tracks that the worlds were contested on was the King track and a 100-foot American Orange that had the S's removed. So you raced the wing cars on the King track, and you raced the scale cars on the Orange track with no S's. And that little Orange track was pretty fast, a lot of destruction through the week. And it was decided after that Worlds, that for the 89 Worlds, that they would have more of a road course, flat type track for the 89 Worlds, IMCA Worlds at JK Raceway 2 years in a row. So JP commissioned Hasse Nilsson to build 3 MTT tracks, all identical. They were built at ProSlot. Because at that time, some people may say, well, what's up with the Eurotoy thing? Well, Eurotoy was going to be like a ready-to-run slot car company business that produced ready-to-run slot cars. And they came up with the name Eurotoy. It was owned by J.P. Van Rossum. It was going to be headquartered here in the United States in the ProSlot building. I guess it was probably the Eurotoy building, but ProSlot was there as well. It was kind of a joint effort between ProSlot and Dan DeBella and J.P. Van Rossum. You got Eurotoy and you got ProSlot, all under the same roof. So the tracks were built at the facility in Lowell, Michigan. And Hasse came there. And I talked to John Miller quite a bit because John Miller, who now owns ProSlot, worked at ProSlot at that time. And he said, one day a truck showed up with all the materials on it. The ProSlot workers helped unload the materials, and Hasse did the rest. And it took Hasse about 4 weeks to construct the tracks. The first track, after it was built, it was crated and then shipped to Italy. The second track was built and then shipped over to Chicago, JK Raceway. And the third track stayed at ProSlot. So I guess we'll start with the Italian track. So the track went to Italy in 1989. I don't know, and no one really seems to remember exactly if and when it was set up. But the track was refurbed, according to Piro in Italy 2 days ago. The track was refurbed in 2001 in Simona, and it lasted until 2003 when the wood was ruined and rotted. And I don't know if they maybe had a water leak and it ruined it, rotted it, or maybe it was just starting to fall apart over time, not knowing the, climate in Simona. Maybe it's very humid there. Maybe, the track just started to crumble apart over time, being moist and dry.
They use particle wood, don't they, to build the tracks?
Do what now?
They use particle board?
Do what?
Particle wood?
No, they would have been made from MDF.
Okay.
But so anyway, so the track was burned in 2004 to make room for the track that replaced the MTT in Simona. So MTT number 3, Italy, poof, gone, no longer in existence. Now, MTT track number, well, I guess it was 3. Italy was number 1. MTT track number 3, which was the Pro Slot track.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just back up. We'll just go with MTT track number 2, which went to Chicago, because it stayed in Chicago for many years. I raced on it I don't know how many times at different JK Raceway locations when he moved. And, like we had the 1996 USRA Scale Nats, we ran GT12 and Eurosport on that track. But there was countless IMCA, CASRA, national championships on it. I mean, 1991, JK Raceway had the 1991 World Championships, and like we ran 32nd F1. I'm pretty sure, maybe not. I know we ran 132nd production, and I won that. And we ran 24th Eurosport 3-hour team enduro. Me and Gugu teamed up, and we won that. But there was countless races on it at different locations through the years at Jerry's. So when Jerry was in his location, 1996, they had the MTT, they had the King track, and he put in an LTD track. When Jerry closed that raceway and moved it, then, which I think was then Mundelein, the MTT track was never seen again, never set up again. But at some point, Jerry sold that MTT, and it went to South Dakota. And it was in South Dakota for a while. I don't know if it was set up and used or not. And if it was, anyway, it came back to Chicago. 2009, 2010, Larry Kelly was involved. The raceway had the MTT, which Larry had kind of refurbished, along with American Black Royal that Larry had. That was also reconditioned, and that raceway had those 2 tracks. Don't know how long they lasted, but Peter Lentros from Massachusetts, the owner of the Purple Mile out there and the Hill Climb, and he purchased both tracks from Larry Kelly and are his partner. And, of course, the American Black has been restored again by Gary Girding, and it's up in operation now. The MTT is in storage. There was talk of Peter possibly setting up this track in next year, 2019, and maybe having a 30th anniversary World Championship type race. So, don't know if it's going to happen or not, but that's been some of the talk. So,
word on the street.
Huh?
No, word on the street.
That's the word on the street.
Yeah.
So, MTT track number 3, which sold at Pro Slot, probably has the most interesting history. It was at Pro Slot. I think I read that they had like the 1991 IMCA Nats on it at Pro Slot. So if the track was built in early 89 or late 88, however you want to look at it, It was up and running at Pro Slot for a couple years, and I think it sat for a while and they didn't run on it. And then I don't remember exactly what year it was. I can remember Joe Solinsky buying the track. Probably, I want to say maybe between 93 and 95, because Joe would come and race with us at Jerry's on Jerry's MTT, and Joe bought the Pro Slot MTT and moved it out to Pennsylvania. I don't know exactly how long he had it set up there, but after Joe was done with it, he sold it to Andy Smith, Professor Motor, and Andy had it in storage for a while. Then he sold it to an individual named Anders Holberg, who actually got the track and set it up in his basement. And don't know how long it was in the basement, but then he decided to sell it to Larry Harper in Amherst, Ohio, who then moved it, because Anders was in Michigan, and he sold the track to Larry Harper, who then had it set up for a while in Amherst, Ohio. And at some point, Larry Harper decided to close his raceway, and he sold the track to Mark Campbell, who was going to host the 2009 PlayFit World Championships, or maybe it was the Pan American Championships, and he was going to use that track for that race. And once they got the track there, they decided that it needed too much repair and restoration to have it in prime shape. So then Mark had Ogilvy build the MTT track that now resides in Concord, North Carolina. So Mark sold this track, or the Pro Slot track, to TSS Hobbies in Detroit.
Okay, I've heard of them.
Yep. And conflicting reports, no one really can recall exactly what happened. Some say that it was set up, some say that it never really got set up. But anyway, no one knows what happened to the track. A couple people thought that it got water damaged and then taken to the landfill. So, if anyone knows what happened to the MTT at TSS Hobbies, we'd love to hear from you, because Andy Smith, who's there in Detroit, has no idea what happened to it.
And that's what's pictured is that track?
The track that's pictured is the JK 89 Worlds track. But, I mean, it looked identical to this. So, other than when Joe Solinsky got it from Pro Slot, he resurfaced it, and I think he said he painted the sidewalls blue and made the surface gray.
Okay.
Like a real light gray. But when all three tracks were new, red sidewalls, light pink surface.
Okay.
And why they ever decided on light pink, I never,
as I was going to say, just light pink. That's different.
It was very different. I mean, it was the first pink track I ever raced on, and maybe the only pink track I ever raced on, because you know that Jerry had a very early Haase King built that had like a purple surface. And that was the first purple surface I ever raced on. Because, you know, back in the early, mid-'80s, pretty much everything was black.
Right.
There were a few, you know, re-epoxy surfaced American tracks out there that people would like gray or whatever. But I've raced on pink, I've raced on purple, I've raced on blue, I've raced on black, I've raced on brown. I think that's, you know, dark gray, light gray, I guess, if you want to throw some shades in there. But, you know, that's the different colors I've seen tracks. I've been on. But you look at some of the tracks from around the world, sometimes you see one with a green surface or...
the King Cool's got a green tint.
Does it? No, I mean...
I was noticing this past weekend, I was looking at it, and I was like, you know, I never noticed this track's green.
Well, when I say green, I'm talking green the color of the infield on that in that picture. But... and then I've seen tracks that had a red surface and even yellow surface. So Surface doesn't affect anything, just the looks of it. So
That's what I was going to say. If there was ever a surface with a color on it that people thought was faster.
no, it's not like when we used to run SBR rubber tires and blue would be faster than green, or white might be faster than blue, or red, or I mean, that's a whole nother story for another day. But so that is the history as we know it for the original 3 MTT tracks. And I have to check with Mr. Goronsky, but I believe in 1993, 1994, Slockhart Junction, which was Paul's home track, they had an MTT track, but it was different than these 3 original. They had differences. And I also believe that MTT was built by Haase, but it was not identical.
Gotcha.
So I will check with Mr. Goronsky. But, okay, so like back to, I was showing you the differences. I mean, if you look at this picture, you can see how the donut is triangular.
Mm-hmm.
You got the little straightaway right there in the center. And then coming under the bridge, you come uphill. I mean, You're on Black Lane. I mean, you're out basically above like orange or green on the main straightaway. And you come back. And then when you, like I said, when you come down through here, no straightaway. It's just a big radius around the corner and onto the straight. And I think this section's longer, but at the same time, I think this, you come around and you're making that right-hand turn and you kind of make a left. I don't think on this original MTT is as pronounced as it is, say, on this MTT. Where we at? Oh, not too far back. See, it's got a pretty good jog in it. So, yeah. But it'll be different for everybody when they run on it. But like I said, if you ran on this, you've got the rhythm. It'll suit you on the other track. So, and there you have it. The history of the 3 MTTs. So tell us about the enduro race last weekend. Like I said, it was very long. And I'm going to preface by saying, because like I watched the first heat or two, and I just cannot believe the amount of track calls. And I even posted a comment like, in enduros, there's not to be any track calls. And I mean, I'm not putting the race in a bad light. I'm just saying.
That was their first one.
Right. So, I think just the amount of track calls, because it turned it from a 6-hour race roughly to about a 9-hour race.
Rough. I was up for 24 hours, so it was long all around.
Right, but I mean the race started about what, 6 p.m.?
It was supposed to start at 6, but anyone who knows Randy doesn't start on time.
Okay.
So we started at about 7.
Okay. And you got done at 3:40 a.m.
It was done at midnight. And then we raced the last stint, and that was done at 3:40. Because they did a $5 challenge to see what time the race would end, and I picked 3:38.
I think it was just kind of Shane Parent Day there all day between the birthday cake.
I can't complain not one bit. I had a great weekend.
You won the race.
The ride back to Bobby's was kind of sketchy, but I think we pulled into his drive. He wanted to go by Waffle House, and I'm like, dude, if we go by Waffle House, it's going to be 6 o'clock. Right. I was like, 40 minutes roughly to his house. Waffle House was probably 10 minutes. And then I'm like, I got to get some sleep. And then from his house to my house here in Charleston was another 3 hours. So I was like, we need to go.
We need to go. It's cool. So, how did the Phoenix motors perform?
Not a one blew up. They had some fast ones. I mean, there were some guys out there that had cars that were a lot faster than Bobby's and mine. We had one laid down. Bobby thought it was laying down. We talked about it later on because he looked at it and he was like, there's still brush left. And I was like, well, did it lay down, or do you think maybe we ran out of tire, or is it just kind of a optical illusion because we're going on no sleep?
Right.
So it was kind of hard to say, but we changed the motor.
Okay.
Changed the motor, and with that motor, we finished the race out with that motor. But the motor prior to that, I would say easily had well over 2,000 plus laps on it.
And then how did you gear your motor?
With what the package said, 1337.
Okay. Now, do you know if other guys ran deviated from that, or everybody kind of ran that 13.2? I guess.
Kind of like how, I guess, what was it, Ralph, on the last show? No one's really going to tell,
Okay.
And some people said they ran 13. Some of them said 14. Then I was like, 14, that could be kind of sketchy.
Okay.
Some people said they ran 11s. And then it's like, all right, well, what size tire? I think you had tire sizes ranging from 720s to, I think, 775s maybe. And me and Bobby ran probably 765s.
Okay.
And, I had the tires because I was actually checking them. We would start with 765s, and then we would run maybe 3 to 4 10-minute heats and then change. And whenever the heat was over or after that, we were probably looking at 700 tires, 700 to 710 tires.
Okay. So you guys won. You changed your motor. Did second place team change motors? Did third place team change motors?
I believe this, like in the middle, it wasn't an impound race, so you could work on your stuff.
Right.
So in the middle, I believe everyone kind of freshened up their cars and went over them to start the second half. So I would say I want to believe that everyone changed their motors going in.
Okay. Okay.
So, because at one point, I told Bobby, I was like, do you want to change again, or you just want to leave it? And it's kind of like, and I was, he was just like, let's just leave it and do the best with what we got.
Right.
I was like, okay. I was like, oh, that call's made. So.
Okay. So, I was going to ask you another question about, so you could work on your cars in between heats. I mean, you didn't have to do anything under green flag conditions.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. Everything, it was 10 minutes on, 3 minutes off. Okay,
so if the race had been work under green flag only,
mm-hmm.
and it's I'm just asking you what your feelings are. Do you think you could have went the distance on your motor, or you would still probably had to change it?
We probably still would have had to change it because we were consistent at 3.9s, 4.0, and then it was Bobby's turn. He said, watch the time. I think the motor's laying down. And then I noticed it was running 410 to 420. So I was like, yeah, we're like a tenth off.
Okay, and it wasn't the lane. It was...
No, we were on orange. So orange is a good, hammer down, go lane. So
okay.
And then I kind of watched it, and I was like, yeah, because cars that weren't passing us before were starting to pass us. So I was just like, this could be kind of sketchy.
Gotcha.
I count him down so he could stop. I told him, I was like, if we give up a little bit of track distance, I won't have to run to go get the car because just in case, because you know how I can get sometimes changing motors. So I grabbed it, pulled the body off, changed the motor, looked over it, and everything worked out.
Okay.
Went back on, and then I told him, I was like, well, this is going to be kind of iffy because I didn't change tires because we changed motor.
Right.
I forget what lane, because it was my turn to come in the race, and he was like, well, is it better? And I was like, I don't know, because you ran the car last.
Right.
And then whenever he went back on, we had changed the tires, and he was like, oh, yeah, this is better. I was like, okay, well, let's roll on.
So did you guys run pretty, did you have a pretty clean race, no, real crash damage where you were spending time off the track?
First part of the race, I told him, we kind of talked about it leading up to this, that, Bobby, he raced big cars before, so he knows kind of reserve tires. Let's not go out and be set on kill. And I mean, my history, I've helped with race teams before, so I was like, let's just make laps.
Right.
And as it gets to the end, if it's time to push, let's push. If we can cruise, let's cruise.
Right.
So honestly, I would say maybe the whole part of the race, we weren't really pushing the car to its full capability. We were just making laps. We were letting people by. Like the first couple of heats, I was letting by, go. It's way too early. And then the halfway point, we had one lap over Walker and Carl. I was like, all right, we kind of got to remember that going into the last part of the race.
Sure.
The last part of the race, I wasn't really paying attention to where they were or where we were,
Right.
I never really paid attention to. And then there towards the end, they started to kind of have trouble. And I told Bobby, I was like, let's just make laps. That's all we got to do, just make laps.
Yeah, because you guys won by 33 laps, so.
Yeah, because the first stint, it was one lap, and then the second stint is when I think they had trouble, and we were still just cruising.
Okay.
Had they not had trouble, it's like I told them, they had the car to beat by far. Because, I mean, Walker, I think he was on yellow, ran high heat of 157 or 58 laps. And ran in race mode, I think he ran like a 3.6.
Okay.
I think he also ran the fastest lap of the whole race. I mean, their car was definitely hooked up and running, but it's just, it's one of those deals that has to maintain and be there till the end.
Right. Well, good job and congratulations.
It was a marathon. I had a lot of text and a lot of messages saying, "Hey, you ready for Ohio?" And I was like, I think I'm gonna sit that one out. So.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the whole story was, Friday. People who know me, I deliver construction material. Normally, I'm off by 3:30, 4 o'clock. That Friday, I worked until like 6:30. So I was like, well, I'm not driving because I was going to drive up Friday night and stay the night with Bobby's, get a good night's sleep, be ready to go.
Right.
Didn't end up doing that. So I was like, I'm just going to come home, pack everything up, get up early in the morning, head to the track. So 4:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, Friday night, however you want to say it, I was headed to Concord. Did our breakfast, track opened at noon, practice, did our thing, race started at 7, race was over at 3:40. So I told Bobby, I was like, I'm working on 24 hours.
Yeah.
We pulled into his driveway, I think just a touch over 5. But I remember on the way home, I told him, I was like, I hope we don't get pulled because if I'm swerving as bad as I feel like I am, they're going to think I'm drunk.
Right.
And then, the rest of that was a blur. It was one of those, set my bag down upstairs in bed, out cold, up at 12, headed back home.
All right, so we have 3 giveaways from Mid-America Products.
Mm-hmm.
And Roger wants to give away some body harpoons, for pinning your body.
Yeah.
Don't have one here to show you, but so we're going to have 3 winners this week. You will contact Roger at Mid-America. He will get the prize to you. So the first winner is Mike Sanders. And the second winner is Dave Laughlin. Hey, I know that guy.
Last name sounds.
I know Mike Sanders, too. I mean, I don't know if I know him, but I know the name. And last winner is Johnny Detroit from the Detroit, Michigan area. So, Johnny D, you're a winner.
Was he at Flexi-Palooza?
Yes, he was. I was just getting ready to say that.
I got my shirts today.
Did you?
I seen everyone posting, got the shirts. I was like, I wonder if I got mine. Came home, looked on the coffee table, and there was the box. I was like, hey, got my shirts.
See, I didn't even see anything on that today. So,
shirts. I got a hoodie. Not that I really need it.
Well, I knew they've been trying to get them out, and there just was I don't know, lack of communication or whatever. So
yeah, but they should be showing up. So
cool. Yeah, because I think they got there a day or two after the race was over. So they've been in Detroit ever since. So, and I think next week's show we'll talk more about new products. We've seen some new products. Well, we've kind of seen a few of them, I don't know, a month ago or whatever, but now we're starting to see more as it gets closer to submission, or well, now that it's after the submission time of July 1st. So things are starting to be kind of released. I've heard nothing on anything that, I mean, nothing's technically USRA approved until October 1st, but it will be announced, I would imagine, very shortly that what's been submitted, what meets specs, and as long as they're available to distributors and everything come October 1st, then they're approved on October 1st, or fully approved. So,
next I know Randy's been getting his chassis done.
Right.
He had those, and they're showing those to all the guys or whatnot. So.
Right. Yeah. So you got the RM chassis, and you got the new Mazzetti 4.5 and Mazzetti GT12, and I think there was some bodies submitted, maybe a couple of new motor setups. Other than that, I really don't know.
Yeah.
So
I've just seen what's ever been posted on Facebook or something. Maybe me and you've talked about.
But it gives us more to talk about in future shows. So, do you have anything to add, or do you want to bring anything up or ask, or?
No, not. I'm finally back to normal. I feel like a human again.
Recovered 5 days later, 4 days later, 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah. 4 days. If you count Sunday.
Friday, Monday. That's what it was for me. Yeah, it's like I'm back at work.
Lots of nap time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it was a lot of fun. Would I do it again? Yes, I would do it again.
Okay. And next week, we're supposed to have a special guest lined up for a kind of interview, interrogation, whatever we want to call it. Another historic racer type guy. So hopefully he'll be here next week. If not, should be me and Ralph. Might be me, Ralph, and Shane. Might just be Shane. Could be just me. Who knows? But
be me.
Time will tell. So, secret word really isn't a word, but we'll go with MTT.
Okay.
I don't think we've used that before, so.
Well, if we have.
We
I
have?
don't remember.
Okay.
I think, honestly, I really do. I think we've used it before.
Well, now that we have the whole story in history, it's official.
The official. We could put official MTT.
And see, in the next few weeks, we'll talk more about 88 Worlds, 89 Worlds, Eurotoy, things like that. So, because we've kind of opened the Pandora's box just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the MTT's, kind of the part of that deal, that story, and there's a whole lot more to that story. I mean, we talked about some of that back when George Kimber was on the show.
Right.
Stuff like that, because he was there, and I don't know if he was there in 88. I'd have to look to make sure, but I know he was there in 89. So, but there was a lot of guys that were there in 88 and not in 89. Some guys were both, and then some guys were 89 but not in 89.
You think any of those guys would travel from overseas once the track put up for the Nats?
Anybody from over in Europe come to our scale Nats? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you might see a Giannis come over. Other than that, I really don't. I mean,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, in years past, if you look all back through the history of the USRA Division II, it's not really. There hasn't been too many foreigners that have come over for it. I mean, you got Gugu, of course, and you've got had a few of his Brazilian friends tag along and stuff. But
right. Because I know Alec came one year. I think that was New Jersey. I met him.
Right. As far as Europeans, I mean, I think there was maybe back in 2009 or 8 when Roger had the Nats, I think some came in and used that as a warm-up for the 2010 Worlds, a few. So, you know, if they think the track's going to be used for a Worlds or something, then they may come in a year early and use it as a warm-up.
Gotcha.
But as far as regular European year after year guys, no, we've never really had any.
No.
So
I was just curious. I mean, it's a new, different track with a lot of history or whatnot to it.
Right, and see, prior to, I believe it was 2008, is when USRA voted in Israel Worlds for the Euro 32nd, F1, and 24th classes. Prior to that, it was USRA rules, which they didn't really follow over there. I mean, it wasn't much difference other than bodies, and maybe tire width rules. Now they were, yeah. And then in 2008, they voted to make it straight ISRA. And I think the thought was, well, maybe we'll get some guys to come in, but it's not really worked out to that advantage. So
gotcha.
Maybe in time, who knows? But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if some Europeans did come over this year. But
yeah,
I'm not saying they won't, but I'm not feeling that there will be. If there'd be just a few. I don't think you'll see a 6 to 10 people.
Cool. So
who knows? So that's all I got for this week.
That's all I got.
Well, thank you for being on the show in short notice.
Hey, no problem.
Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Me and Bobby got my wingman. He was in it too.
Yep. Have you drank your Fireball yet?
No, I haven't actually. We actually went to the liquor store beforehand, and I got a couple of sleeves of Fireball just to celebrate.
So what is a sleeve? I'm out of the loop here. What's the street line on that? What's a sleeve?
It's a sleeve's got 10 mini bottles in it.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a sleeve. Okay. I just called it a tube. Got me a tube of Fireball.
I think you froze up on me.
Oh, am I back now? Oh. Hey, are we back? We're back.
There you go. Yeah. I was like, oh boy, I didn't know what was going on.
I don't know what happened. Well, anyway, so I was saying, I don't think I would say I would call it a sleeve. I call it a tube of Fireball.
Gotcha. Yeah, I walked up and said, you got sleeves? Fireball? Yeah. How many are in there? 10? So give me 2.
10 of those little bottles in a sleeve, which is so.
That ain't that big.
Huh?
Yeah. It's not that big. They're probably, I don't know, like that.
Oh, they put them side by side?
Yeah.
I thought maybe they just top to bottom.
No. Nope.
That's a package of Fireball.
Yeah. It's kind of a tradition that every time I have some, I always give Randy one. And then there was a couple of guys that kind of caught word. And I was like, yeah, but I didn't have one and still haven't had one.
All right. Well, happy birthday, because this Friday's the day, right?
This Friday's the day. Yep.
Well, happy birthday, Shane.
I won't be racing. Thank you.
I won't be racing.
Taking this weekend off. Going to Disney World.
Going to Disney World. Getting caught up on sleep.
Yeah. Or, since it's my birthday.
Holy moly.
Pop on that. That was our trophies. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah, I seen. That's pretty cool. I'm glad you shared that with us.
Yep.
So what is that? Is that wine or champagne?
It says semi-dry crisp, extra dry. I have no idea because I'm a beer drinker. I like beer and maybe some mixed drinks. I've never been one to drink wine or champagne or anything.
I'm going to say it's champagne.
I don't know. I might be able to tell you after this week.
Oh, boy. So, all right. Well, we're going to get off here. Shut this one down. Next week will be episode 50. 50. Who would have ever thought?
I'm keeping them rolling.
Keeping them rolling. All right. So, have fun. You be safe this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm staying home.
Okay. All this drinking you're talking about doing.
And, you know,
And if you're going racing, slot car racing, have fun. Good luck. Be safe. And everybody have a good weekend. And we'll see you next week.